Many people within the Terraria community, including myself, have heavily criticized Master Mode as the worst game mode in the entire game by far. And there are plenty of reasons for that, but I think there are also plenty of reasons that people prefer Master Mode, and it's important to ask the question, is Master Mode in Terraria really that bad? I think we should get started by talking about the benefits of Master Mode, because to pretend it's completely useless would be dishonest, and there are a lot of reasons that people like the game mode. It has exclusive pets, relics, and vanity items, and none of that stuff is really game-changing, but it does add a lot of novelty to the game mode, which can make somebody who's really experienced say, well, Expert Mode and Master Mode both aren't that hard, why wouldn't I just go with Master Mode, which has objectively more content? The increased difficulty in general is very important and valuable for a lot of experienced players. If you're someone who's been playing Terraria forever, you've got plenty of playtime in the game, you know the best weapons and armor sets, and you just know what you're doing, why wouldn't you want a harder difficulty game mode that can at least give you a little bit of freshness? I think the sheer difficulty is the big appeal to Master Mode, and it's the reason that it even exists in the first place. The developers probably looked at the player base and said, these guys are getting too good, we need something for them to feel like they can have a fresh, new challenge, and so we're gonna add a game mode that gives them exactly that. It doesn't really add that much content in itself, which I do think is a problem and we will get to later, but there's no denying that Master Mode is harder, and that can be great for a lot of people. It's the same reason people love stuff like the Zenith Seed or Get Fixed Boy, whatever you want to call it. People love that seed not because it's the most well-balanced or even the most fun, but because it provides a completely new challenge for experienced players who want something new. And then last but not least, of course, the extra accessory slot from Expert Mode is a huge improvement and a huge step up. This is the sole reason that in a large Terraria playthrough, I will often go for Master Mode. Having an extra accessory slot allows you to experiment a little bit more, but more importantly, it allows you to feel truly more powerful than you could in Expert or Classic mode. Funnily enough, I think the biggest change from Expert Mode to Master Mode is simply this one thing. One extra slot in your inventory for your accessories. And I mean, hey, that is good, but it's kind of crazy that that's the biggest change. Now that we've talked about the benefits, I do want to get into the reason why some players, or most players, including myself, dislike Master Mode, because it does have a lot of problems. The big issue is that with the inflated health and damage of enemies, they do become more challenging, but without an outside factor to make them different, truly different, they're just inflated, and they're just more frustrating to fight. Expert Mode actually adds a lot of benefits that make it worth fighting harder enemies, because you can get new items or higher drop rates. Because boss fights have higher health, for example, they also have new attacks and new drops. It's something to reward the player and compensate them for that extra challenge. And items like the Rod of Discord are made a lot easier to collect because their drop rates are increased. My biggest issue is honestly that valuable enemy drops in Master Mode aren't increased. Their rates remain the exact same as they would in Expert Mode, and that is an issue. The drop chances of items like Rod of Discord remain the exact same, but killing Chaos Elementals takes way longer. It's not actually really increasing the difficulty as much as it is just increasing the grind. That's ultimately the big problem with Master Mode. It feels like a huge grind more so than it feels extremely difficult or new. Because Master Mode boss fights also have the exact same attack patterns as they would in Expert Mode, once again the challenge of the fight itself isn't really increased, these enemies just become giant damage sponges and take longer to kill. You simply can't use bad weapons in Terraria Master Mode even if you optimize them as well as you can. Obviously there are exceptions to this, but let's say you're fighting Master Mode Skeletron. This is a huge roadblock for a lot of challenges in Terraria because he is such a damage sponge. He has so much health, he flies around everywhere, he's hard to hit, and if you don't damage him fast enough, you're likely just gonna reach daytime before you can kill the boss fight, and then he's basically invincible. Ultimately, I feel like Master Mode, more than anything else, just makes the game more grindy. Even beyond Expert Mode, there are examples of things in Terraria which can add new challenge with new interesting content as well. Take For the Worthy, for example. It changes the way the world generates, it changes the way that certain enemies attack the player, it gives bosses completely new attacks or patterns. And that's what a difficulty game mode, in a game in general, but especially in a game like Terraria, should be like. I love the increased difficulty, and the more I play Terraria, the more I desire something like that to make the game feel new again. But the problem is, without new content, it still feels more repetitive than it does fresh. At the end of the day, I think that Master Mode could have been amazing, and it ended up being just okay. You can't really hate the game mode because it's totally optional, so if you don't want to play it, just don't play it. But it could have been so much more. It could have been a brand new way to play and experience the game just like Expert Mode and Journey Mode. If somebody wants a super challenging Terraria experience, I would just forward them to For the Worthy. I wouldn't really tell them to play Master Mode. So if you want an answer to is Master Mode Terraria really that bad, I would say, yeah, it basically is. It's not horrible, but it is much worse than Classic, Journey, and Expert Mode. What do you think about Master Mode though? Do you think that it's a little bit overhated, or do you dislike it as well? Make sure to leave what you think in the comments, and as always, I will see you tomorrow. Alright, bye-bye.